And away we go. Episode 1149 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Friday, September 5th, 2025. It is a football Friday. Both the NFL and college football regular seasons now are underway. And we have the 94th all-time regular season for the franchise currently known as the Washington Commanders starting this Sunday afternoon. Commanders versus the New York Giants at Northwest Stadium this Sunday afternoon at 1. Let us get properly fired up for Commanders-Giants. December 7th, 1986. The Redskins versus the Giants at RFK Stadium in a massive game in the 86 regular season. The Skins were 11-2. The Giants were 11-2. This was what the NFC East was back then. Now, the Skins lost the game 24-14 and did then lose at the Giants in the NFC Championship game for that season 17-0, although the Skins won the Super Bowl for the following season. This was the open for the CBS telecast of Skins Giants at RFK Stadium on December 7th, 1986. The game was called by two legends who no longer are with us, Pat Summerall and John Madden. Here you go.
The Washington Redskins offensive line is one of football's best, but today their reputation will be challenged by Lawrence Taylor and a fired-up New York defense. The Giants are confidently riding the crest of a six-game winning streak. And with the right calls from Phil Simms, they hope to roll a 7 today. The Giants also face some stiff challenges today. First, their defense must contain Washington's fleet receivers, like Gary Clark. And their unheralded pass blockers will have to contend with Dexter Manley, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Manley relishes the spotlight, and today it shines brightly in the season's biggest game. Joe Morris ran the Giants to victory in their first meeting, but today's rematch is at RFK Stadium, where the Skins are hard to beat and where tickets are impossible to find.
How about that? How great was that? Look, I did not even truly start following sports until 1987, but watching that open on YouTube for this game between the Skins and the Giants at RFK Stadium in December 1986, so good. That open is so good. And how about Pat Summerall saying that tickets are impossible to find for games at RFK Stadium? Well, we, of course, expect Washington in a few years to be back playing home games on that RFK Stadium site. Hello and welcome to this Friday installment of the Al Galdi podcast, a podcast on which we talk Commanders on every episode, no matter the time of year. It is great to have you with us. Coming up on the show, in-depth preview of Commanders Giants. Next segment, analysis of the Commanders offense versus the Giants defense and discussion of comments from offensive coordinator Kliff Kingsbury on quarterback Jayden Daniels, receiver Deebo Samuel Sr., the team's running back situation, and more. The following segment, analysis of the Commanders defense versus the Giants offense and discussion of comments from defensive coordinator Joe Whitt Jr. on the defense potentially / hopefully being better, especially against the run, playing time at cornerback, how edge defenders Von Miller and Dorance Armstrong are doing, whether the defense's fourth quarter problem has been solved, and more. And then after that, the season debut of Rhyming Keys, my keys to a Commanders win over the Giants in rhyming fashion. And I'll give you my predictions for the game and for the Commanders' 2025 season. And also on the show, I'll talk college football. I have GaldiLocks picks for you for the FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic region in Week 2 of the 2025 season. And I have some thoughts on Maryland's game against Northern Illinois at CQ Stadium in College Park, Maryland on Friday night at 7:30. The Terrapins' true freshman QB1, Malik Washington. He did well in his debut. How about Week 2? Hey, there's a rhyme right there. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me, the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Email from Justin Goldberg on a new Commanders fan. Writes Justin, hey Al, I usually listen to the pod at the gym, but now I have a new time to listen. My wife and I just welcomed our first child, a beautiful baby girl, Haley. Now, the middle of the night feedings, a special bonding time, include 3. Haley, Dad, parentheses me, and Al. Thank you for following D.C. area sports so we don't have to. It's going to be harder this season. Hashtag raise Hale, and Justin spells Hale, Hayl. Thank you for the email, Justin. Congratulations to you and your family. Outstanding. Email from Stanley Evans on the Commanders offense. Right, Stanley. Al, what's up, man? Ready for the season? We've been conditioned by years of losing to fear believing in victory. Back when you-know-who was that quarterback, the doubt made sense. He wasn't clutch in big moments or prime time. But JD5 is the complete opposite. He's dynamic and gives us a chance to win any game on the schedule. Skeptics talk about the fear of injuries. Every team deals with that. The difference is we finally have a quarterback who makes us dangerous every single Sunday. Think about it. When's the last time you truly felt we could beat anyone, anywhere, just because of the guy under center? It has been a long, long time. Giants fans are putting their hope in their front four. LOL, we've lived that story with 4 former first-rounders before. How'd that work out for us? As long as JD5 is here, I believe this team can go all the way. Your thoughts, my guy. Thank you for the email, Stanley. I agree. With Jayden Daniels, all things are possible. Although, I did not appreciate the shot at my guy, you-know-who. By the way, my 8-year-old son is starting his soccer season, just got his jersey. His number 8. Number 8 for his age 8 season. Now, he got that number by chance, but I'd like to think that he got that in honor of you-know-who during his time with the Redskins and in honor of legendary former Orioles shortstop / third baseman Cal Ripken Jr. 2 great number 8s in Washington, D.C. area sports, right? You-know-who and Cal. And Saturday is the 30th anniversary of 2131 for Cal. The Orioles have a big celebration planned. Should be fun. Email from Jerry Hughes on this podcast. Writes Jerry, hi, Al. I have followed you since your days with 980, and your podcast has been incorporated into my morning drive to work as a staple of my every weekday routine. You are good at what you do, and I really appreciate the work you do to keep us informed about all of DC sports. I wanted to share with you that you have taken on an unexpected role for me as I return to work following the sudden death of my wife of 45 years several weeks ago. As you can imagine, my family and I are grieving this unimaginable loss. Part of healing is getting back to a routine, and an important part of me is my morning drive listening to Al Galdi provide updates on the teams I love. The hour you are on affords me a much-needed distraction from the sadness I feel throughout the rest of my day as I mourn my wife's passing. While I don't know you personally, I do experience a connection with you, with my love of DC sports, and the fact we both went to the same high school and college. So I just want to express my gratitude and let you know that what you do has impact in ways you could not have imagined. Keep doing what you are doing, and best to your family. I have provided a link to my wife's obituary that my children wrote for her because I just want to share with anyone who will listen what a wonderful woman she was. Take care, Jerry. Wow. Thank you very much for that email, Jerry. Rest in peace to your wife, Mary Joan Hughes. Jerry mentioned that we went to the same high school and college. I went to Georgetown Prep High School in Rockville, Maryland, and then went to the University of Maryland. Here's another thing that we have in common, Jerry. I read in your wife's obituary that she was a special education teacher. My wife is a special education teacher. Go figure. But Jerry, consider this a giant bear hug from me. All the best to you and your family, and we hope that you could take enjoyment in the football this weekend. A great sponsor of this podcast is Nova Fireplace and Stove. Are you looking to upgrade the heart of your home? Whether it is time to repair your gas fireplace, modernize your hearth, or simply add more comfort and style, Nova Fireplace and Stove is Northern Virginia's go-to expert for heat, safety, and home transformation. Nova Fireplace and Stove is a family-owned, fully licensed and insured company with over-the-top credentials, gas and electrical master's licenses, a Class A contractor's license, and a long list of 5-star reviews to back all of this up. Nova Fireplace and Stove has a beautiful showroom in Woodbridge, Virginia. That's where your dream fireplace begins. Come in and see Nova Fireplace and Stove's stunning displays, including custom fireplace glass doors and stone refacing options that can completely transform the look of your fireplace. From sleek and modern to rustic and cozy, Nova Fireplace and Stove has something for every style. And here's what else Nova Fireplace and Stove offers: gas fireplace service and repair, chimney cleaning and brickwork repair, generator installation, panel replacements, and water heater repairs, smoke detectors, security lights, and more. Every job includes a free in-home estimate, and for listeners of the Al Galdi podcast, Nova Fireplace and Stove is offering $25 off any service. Just mention this ad. Nova Fireplace and Stove only works in Northern Virginia and thus knows the homes, the codes, and the people. Your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. So stop by the showroom, see what's possible, and let Nova Fireplace and Stove help you bring warmth, safety, and style to your space. You can also visit NovaFireplaceandStove.com. Nova Fireplace and Stove, where comfort meets craftsmanship and your fireplace becomes the heart of your home. Week 1 of the NFL's 2025 regular season gives us the Commanders versus the New York Giants at Northwest Stadium this Sunday afternoon at 1. Let's talk Commanders offense versus Giants defense. The Commanders injury report for Thursday afternoon's practice listed 2 offensive players and a special teams player. Receiver Noah Brown, he on Thursday afternoon was a limited participant in practice for a second consecutive day, this due to a knee. Quarterback Marcus Mariota, he on Thursday afternoon was a full participant in practice for a second consecutive day, but he has been on the injury reports for this week due to his Achilles ailment. And kicker Matt Gay, he on Thursday afternoon was a full participant in practice for a second consecutive day, but he has been on the injury reports for this week due to illness. The Giants defensive coordinator is Shane Bowen. How are the Commanders going to handle the Giants defensive line, what is maybe the best defensive line in the NFL? Interior defensive lineman Dexter Lawrence, edge defenders Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Abdul Carter, who the Giants took with the number 3 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft at a Penn State. Commanders offensive coordinator Kliff Kingsbury, he did a pre-practice press conference on Thursday right around noon. We, during that presser, had this exchange between Mitch Tischler of Monumental Sports Network and Kingsbury.
Not every team has a player as dominant as a guy like Dexter Lawrence in the middle, paired with the edge rushers they have there. How good of a test is this week 1 for new revamped offensive line and, all the changes that have come in this offseason?
Yeah, it's as good as we'll see, I have a feeling. With those guys, they've invested a lot in that group, and rightfully so, and they're very good. I think Lawrence is one of the premier players, defensive players in the league. There's no doubt. I mean, he's a game wrecker if you don't have a plan for him each and every snap. And then, the edge guys, I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for Burns and his style of play and kind of the relentless effort he plays with. And then Thibodeau, a top pick, and Abdul now. So the front 7 is as challenging as we'll face. And so we're going to have to be prepared and know it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out type game, just like they were last year. It came down to the wire in both games last year, and our team understands that.
Well, the Commanders' expected starting offensive line for this game: Laramie Tunsil at left tackle, Brandon Coleman at left guard, Tyler Biadasz at center, Andrew Wiley or Nick Allegretti at right guard, and Josh Conerly Jr. at right tackle. Exciting to think about Tunsil and Conerly making their Commanders' regular season debuts. So the quarterback who those guys will be protecting, of course, Jayden Daniels, who, as you may have heard, is coming off an all-time great rookie season. Daniels for the 2024 regular season had the following rankings among all qualified NFL quarterbacks: number 6 in expected points added per play, EPA per play, per RBSDM.com, 0.202. Number 4 in ESPN's total QBR, 67.7. Number 5 in overall grade per Pro Football Focus, 89.6. Number 14 in yards per pass attempt, 7.43. Number 6 in completion percentage, 68.96. tied for number 2 in fourth quarter comebacks as defined by Pro Football Reference 4, tied for number 4 in game-winning drives as defined by Pro Football Reference 4. Not bad for a rookie. We on Thursday afternoon had this back and forth between Commanders insider John Keim of ESPN and Kliff Kingsbury.
Kliff, I know obviously you worked a lot with Jayden last year and doing those walkthroughs and all that, but what are the conversations like with him in those situations this year compared to last year? How much deeper can he go because of that experience?
Yeah, I think just the comfort level. He's very open now to, I like this, I don't like that. And I think when you're a rookie, it's kind of like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. You call it, I got it. And now I think we're really on the same page as far as like what we want to get accomplished. And if there's something you don't like or there's a concept that's not working or not clicking or we don't think this guy can do it, then we'll throw it out. So I just think the back and forth has grown a lot with us getting to know each other more and him understanding now it's your show. Like, I'm just along for the ride. So let's set it up the way you want.
Been around other players throughout your entire career who have had a lot thrown at them because of the fame or whatever. How have you seen him handle all of that?
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. I mean, all the conversations are still, he wants to talk about football and how do we get better and how does he get better. And so that hasn't changed at all from that perspective.
And how much is Jayden Daniels about to benefit from now having Deebo Samuel Sr. as the Commanders' number 2 receiver, off them acquiring him by a trade with the San Francisco 49ers this past March? Deebo had a really good training camp. I am excited to see what he does this Sunday afternoon. We on Thursday had this exchange with Kliff Kingsbury.
Deebo, obviously you probably had an idea of how you were going to use him when you got started. I'm not trying to ask like scheme questions, but has anything changed in the thinking with your usage of him or things you can do having been through training camp with him now?
The only thing was just his skill as a receiver. You'd seen him in so many different roles and different things. I think he's really good as a receiver. Like if he just played receiver and we didn't have the other stuff, the screens and different stuff that he's become known for, you would be really impressed. And I guess I hadn't studied him enough to know just how dynamic of a receiver and how skilled and polished he was at that position. So to see that has been awesome. And I think Bobby Ingram's done a tremendous job kind of building that relationship, and they have a good thing going.
So Deebo Samuel, yes, had a down 2024 season, but he still was one of the top receivers in the NFL in terms of generating yards after catch. Deebo for the 2024 regular season per Sport Radar was number 5 among all qualified receivers in the NFL in yards after catch per reception at 8.25. The running back situation. We've been talking so much about that, right? Chris Rodriguez Jr., Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Austin Eckler, Jeremy McNichols. So the Commanders do appear to be going with a running back by committee approach. How will it play out against the Giants? We on Thursday had this exchange with Kliff Kingsbury.
First week, as you're going through a game, and one running back, let's say, has got to go in early. Like, are you a believer in a hot hand, like sticking with a guy that's looked good early, regardless of where they're on the depth chart?
Yeah, I think there's something to that. We have 4 guys that we feel really comfortable operating in really all phases of the game, and that's a great feeling as a play caller. And so I think all 4 have shown what we needed them to show this camp to have all the faith in the world that any one of them can go out there and execute at a high level.
And that's why I do think that this Commanders running back situation very much could be a game-by-game thing. One game could be a Chris Rodriguez game. Another game could be a Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt game. Another game could be an Austin Eckler game. Regarding Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the man known as Bill, a lot of hype for our guy Bill. Commanders insider Nikki Javala of The Athletic, she had a post on X on Thursday afternoon, noted that while the top 4 top-selling Commanders jerseys on NFL Shop currently are Jayden Daniels jerseys, number 5 is a Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt Super Bowl era jersey. That is something. That old Bill is number 5. We on Thursday afternoon had this exchange between Commanders insider Ben Standig and Kliff Kingsbury.
Kliff, you've been around a lot of guys who've gotten a lot of attention. Patrick, Jayden, obviously Kyler. All those might have been expected. And I'm not comparing the attention that Bill is getting to that, but how surprised are you watching this journey of the 7th-round pick who played one game last year getting a lot of attention going into his first NFL game?
Yeah, it's been interesting. He's the guy who I have a ton of respect for his journey. There's no doubt. Like, to stay at Arizona and just rep on practice squad every day when you're in college, like, I wouldn't have done that. I would have got a job or done something else. I don't like football as much as he does, apparently. So for him to do that, go to an all-star game, and then just kind of earn the reps, and like he can't get enough. Like he wants to know about it, wants to practice. Like, he's always trying to get to the front of the line, and so that's been really cool to see. We'll see how it all goes, but yeah, it's a big hype train for old Bill.
Yes, sir. All aboard the Ja'Cory Krosky Merit hype train. And when it comes to him being known as Bill, how about this? We on Thursday afternoon had this exchange between Nikki Javala and Kliff Kingsbury.
Do you actually call him Bill?
I do. Yeah. I thought, true story, I thought Coach Lynn had lost his mind because I didn't know his name was Bill, or he went by Bill, and Ja'Cory can't be any farther from Bill. So I'm like, I was talking to the coaches, being like, hey, did y'all talk to the rookies? And he's like, yeah, I talked to Bill earlier. And I'm like, dude, we have left the reservation. And then we found out that he goes by Bill randomly. So
Coach Lynn, of course, is Commanders run game coordinator / running backs coach Anthony Lynn. And I tell you, Kliff Kingsbury has had some issues with players' names. You may remember this, but he last season admitted to calling then Commanders receiver Olamide Zaccheaus Oz as opposed to OZ, which is his nickname. Kingsbury thought that what was meant by OZ was Oz. Hey, if you enjoyed this podcast, check out BGO Blind Pig, the official podcast of BGObsession.com. The boys' preview for week 1 is out. BGO Blind Pig is great. It is a roundtable discussion of the Commanders. It's like you and a bunch of your buddies who are Commanders fans are hanging out and talking about the team. The conversation is smart and fun and respectful. You can find the BGO Blind Pig podcast on YouTube and on any major podcast provider. Make BGObsession.com the home for your burgundy and gold obsession, and make the BGO Blind Pig podcast part of your Commanders podcast rotation. More now on the Commanders as they prepare for their 2025 regular season opener, home to the New York Giants this Sunday afternoon at 1. Time now to talk Commanders defense versus Giants offense. The Commanders injury report for Thursday afternoon's practice listed 2 defensive players. Edge defender Dorance Armstrong, he on Thursday afternoon was a limited participant in practice for a second consecutive day, this due to a knee. And cornerback Jonathan Jones, he on Thursday afternoon was a limited participant in practice for a second consecutive day, this due to a hamstring. The Giants injury report for their practice on Thursday, like for their injury report for their practice on Wednesday, listed just 1 player, but he is a key player. Left tackle Andrew Thomas. He on Thursday did not practice. He on Wednesday was a limited participant in practice. This due to a foot issue, though according to head coach Brian Daboll, Thomas not practicing on Thursday was planned and not necessarily indicative of a setback. What to expect from the Commanders defense in the 2025 regular season. The Commanders for the 2024 regular season have the following rankings. Number 23 in the NFL in total defense per DVOA. Number 22 in the NFL in expected points added allowed per play per RBSDM.com. Number 15 in the NFL in lowest opponent's third down efficiency, 38.2%. Tied for number 20 in the NFL in takeaways, 17. And specific to the Commanders' run defense in the 2024 regular season, the team had these rankings. Number 27 in the NFL in expected points added allowed per play on cold running plays per RBSDM.com. Number 28 in the NFL in fewest yards allowed per rushing attempt, 4.77. That is an overall defensive profile that is not good. The Commanders for the 2024 regular season did rank number 5 in the NFL in team sack percentage, 7.98. That was good, but the overall defensive profile was not good. Plenty of change for the defense since the end of last season, especially with the defensive line. Commanders defensive coordinator Joe Whitt Jr., he did a pre-practice press conference late Thursday morning. We, during that presser, had this back and forth between Donna Hopkins of Pro Football Plus and Whitt.
Coach, when you look at the defense as a whole and going into the regular season, what has pleased you most about this defense?
From practice, and practice is practice. It's just the play style, all right? We've been very aggressive, very intentional with what we've been doing. The communication is light time, just better than what it was at any point last year. And so I've been just pleased with how the guys are connected and playing as one and playing with the aggression and the downhill mentality that we want to play with.
And could you talk a little bit about your run defense and what you've seen there?
We like I said, during the offseason, we were changing some of the techniques up front, and then we had added some players, and I think the D-line coaches have done an excellent job of getting the guys to understand how we want to play it, how we want to hit blocks. We have some larger, longer men up front that have the ability to do some of the techniques that we're going to ask them to do. So I envision that we're going to be much improved in the run area.
Yeah, no bigger weakness for the Commanders' defense last season than run defense. The Giants' top 3 running backs, Tyrone Tracy Jr., who the Giants took in the 5th round of the 2024 NFL Draft out of Purdue, Devin Singletary, who the Giants signed as an unrestricted free agent in March 2024, and Cam Scatterbu, who the Giants took in the 4th round of the 2025 NFL Draft out of Arizona State. The Giants' running backs coach, by the way, is former Redskins running back Ladell Betts. So the Giants head coach, Brian Dable, he has an offensive background. The Giants' assistant head coach / offensive coordinator is Mike Kafka. The Giants this past March signed unrestricted free agent quarterbacks Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. The Giants in the 2025 NFL Draft traded up to take Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart with the number 25 overall pick. Russell Wilson is the QB1. This is his age 37 season. The Giants are his 4th different team in 5 seasons. We on Thursday morning had this exchange with Joe Whitt.
Talked about Russ's deep ball ability. He kind of throws that moon ball. Is he still able to drop it in the bucket at this point of his career like he was previously? And how hard is that to defend?
He hit one against us last year, and won the damn game. So it was a bad call by me. And so because I understand, I know I've been against him enough to know that that's what he does best. And make that call in that situation wasn't very smart. So, no, he can do it. That's what he does best. He throws the ball really good outside the numbers deep. He gives his guys a chance to go make a play, and not just gives them a chance to make a play. He places it very well on those deep balls. So he's one of the best that's done it, and he's done it for a very, very long time.
Yes, he has, and Russell Wilson did victimize the Commanders last season in one of their worst losses of the season. Last November 10th, the Commanders blew a 24-14 third quarter lead in a 28-27 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers at Northwest Stadium. Now, the Commanders held Wilson to just 14 for 28 passing and to just 195 passing yards. That works out to a yards per pass attempt of just 6.96, but that also works out to a yards per completion of 13.93. The Commanders intercepted Wilson once and sacked him 3 times, but also allowed him to have 3 touchdown passes, including a killer touchdown pass deep in the 4th quarter on a 3rd and 9 for the Steelers at the Commanders' 32. Cornerback Benjamin St. Juste got burned by receiver Mike Williams on a 32-yard shotgun touchdown bomb by Wilson to Williams with 2:22 left in the 4th quarter. Commanders quarterback Jayden Daniels, his top receiver over his 2 seasons as LSU's QB1 was Malik Nabers, who the Giants took with the number 6 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. He, like Daniels, had a tremendous rookie season. Nabers for the 2024 regular season had the following rankings among all players in the NFL. Number 5 in receptions, 109. Number 7 in receiving yards, 1,204. We on Thursday morning had this back and forth between Commanders insider John Keim of ESPN and Joe Whitt.
With Malik Nabers, what makes him so dangerous as a receiver, and do you feel you're better equipped to defend a guy like that this year?
What makes him dangerous is he's a really good athlete. Okay, to run after the catch is what he probably does best. Once he gets the ball in his hands, he is very dangerous. He can lead people. He has power to run through arm tackles. So that makes him dynamic. He can catch the ball in different planes as well. He's one of the better young receivers in the league. Are we better equipped to cover him this year? We'll see on Sunday.
Along those lines, what do you like about that secondary from what you've seen this summer?
If you've been out there at practice, and we have to bring our practice to to the game feel. We've been really sticky. All right, we've challenged press, been more of what I envision of our secondary being than what we were necessarily last year, from a standpoint of just being very aggressive and getting up. And so I've been pleased with the way that those guys have challenged routes and turned the ball over and communicating and doing those things.
I like that from Joe Whitt, not making any promises about anything, nor should he. The Commanders' 53-man roster includes 5 cornerbacks: Marshawn Lattimore, Mikey Sainristil, Trey Amos, Jonathan Jones, and Noah Igbenogany. You wonder how much Jones and Igbenogany will play on Sunday afternoon. We, on Thursday morning, had this exchange between Commanders insider Ben Standig and Joe Whitt.
Talk about the secondary. I swear this is not a game plan question.
Okay.
But last year, you guys, and candidly, didn't always have enough maybe cornerbacks out there to feel comfortable to do what you said you wanted to do. I think it's the opposite problem this year, plus the safety room. How does the coach sort of navigate? Yeah, you want to have certain people out there in certain packages, but you have 3 corners that you probably maybe want on the field at all times. You have multiple safeties. How do you kind of navigate that, the talent versus the scheme, as you kind of go through that?
Back when I was in Green Bay, I think it was in 2014, we had a very, very talented secondary room. And I think out of that room, maybe through their career, 7 guys made Pro Bowls. You know what I'm saying? It was a very talented room. You had Micah Hyde, Casey Hayward, Sam Shields, Tramon Williams, Morgan. You had a ton of guys. And what I would go in there and tell those guys is the best guys play and the other guys watch. And that's just what it is. So the guys that deserve to play, they'll go out there and play, and we'll put packages for people to get, guys on the field. But what I'm not going to try to do is to appease a guy, hurt the defense with trying to just get a guy on the field. No, get yourself into the package and you'll play, and we'll go from that standpoint there. So it's a good problem to have, but I'm not going to try to make somebody happy just to play them and hurt the defense. That's not going to be a part of what we do.
And that 100% is the right approach. What about the Commanders at edge defender? This game against the Giants will mark the debut for Von Miller with the Commanders. The team on July 21st officially announced the signing of Miller as an unrestricted free agent. He's entering his age 36 season, but he's coming off a good 2024 season in a limited role with the Buffalo Bills. Miller in the 2024 regular season had 6 sacks despite playing on just 25.27% of the Bills' defensive snaps. He is number 16 in NFL history in regular season sacks at 129.5. Sacks became an official NFL stat starting with the 1982 season. We on Thursday morning had this exchange between Commanders insider Nikki Zavala of The Athletic and Joe Whitt.
What have you seen from Von in your limited time with him? And is there at all a challenge for you in sort of balancing where he's at in his career with, what he's capable of doing? That makes sense.
Well, Von, he's a professional. He's come in and really helped all the guys with all the knowledge that he's had over the years. I was with Julius Peppers later in his career when he came to Green Bay, and they're very similar with, very good pass rushers. They're different guys, but very good pass rushers. And so Von still has a really very fast first step. He can bend. He's quick. And so all those athletic ability things he still has, and then with his knowledge, I'm excited to watch him play on Sunday.
Well, another key edge defender for the Commanders is Dorance Armstrong, who's in his second season with the team, off at having signed him as an unrestricted free agent in March 2024. Armstrong had a really good training camp. We on Thursday morning had this exchange between Nikki Zavala and Joe Whitt.
Dorance, he seemed to have a really good camp. In what ways did you see him take another step this year?
A complete football player. He's not just a rusher. He's not a guy that just can play the run. He can do it all. He can play on first and second down outside. On third down, you can kick him inside. You can play, a 6 technique, 9 technique with him, 3 technique. He's just a complete football player. He's a really smart man. I know he doesn't say a lot, but he can communicate. And when we're running games or when we're changing things up front, he can communicate that with the other D linemen. So he's one of the leaders on this defense, and he's had, like you said, he's had a hell of a camp. So it's going to show up.
Yeah, Dorance Armstrong over the Commanders' 3 games this past postseason had 3.5 sacks. And one more thing with the Commanders' defense, and this is an underrated thing. Do you know that the Commanders for the 2024 regular season were number 30 out of 32 NFL teams in fewest fourth quarter points allowed? 162. 162 of the 391 points allowed by the Commanders last regular season were fourth quarter points. We on Thursday afternoon had this exchange between 7 News DC sports director Scott Abraham and Joe Whitt.
I know numerous times last year you expressed your frustration of not being able to finish games, getting off the field fourth quarter, getting those turnovers. How has that become a point of emphasis over the last couple of weeks training camp, and what type of improvements do you think we're going to see with this defense getting off the field and finishing games?
Practice is practice, and we have to bring it to the field. But when we've had competition periods and done things such as that, we've done a really nice job. And so if we can do what we've done on the practice field on Sunday and on every game day, we'll be in the pocket that we need to be in. I've seen it in practice. Now we just have to do it in games. In practice last year, we weren't turning the ball over. We weren't beating the offense in those situations. It has been different this year.
And hopefully things are different during actual games as well. The Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wronged but aren't sure, contact the Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers, and mention that Al Galdi sent you. You can call 202-902-7611. You can also visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and submit for a free, no-obligation case review. The Nace Law Group, it features compassionate lawyers and zealous advocates for its clients. Led by the great Chris Nace and founded in 1979, the Nace Law Group is a Washington, D.C.-based family law firm that handles medical malpractice, personal injury, birth injury, legal malpractice, and consumer protection cases, offering aggressive advocacy for victims in Washington, D.C. and West Virginia. The Nace Law Group is outstanding. It will fight for you and your family. The Nace Law Group can help you and your family make difficult decisions. The Nace Law Group has recovered millions of dollars for the sick and injured. If you have a case, contact the Nace Law Group. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. That's 202-902-7611 or Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com, and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. The Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. The Commanders in the 2024 regular season won both of their games against the New York Giants, but the overall recent history for Washington against the Giants is not good. Washington is just 15-30-1 against the Giants since the start of the 2002 season. A win for the Commanders against the Giants this Sunday afternoon would give Washington at least 3 consecutive wins against the Giants for the first time since the Redskins won 4 consecutive games against the Giants over the 1998 to 2000 regular seasons a long time ago. Commanders versus the Giants at Northwest Stadium this Sunday afternoon at 1 in the 2025 regular season opener for each team. My friends, it is that time, the time to rhyme. It is time for the season debut of Rhyming Keys, my keys to a Commanders win in rhyming fashion. These rhymes, they are not meant to be good, and they are not good. They are quite bad, in fact. They are only meant to make a few points. In fact, I have a saying for this segment, indeed a rhyme for this segment. The saying is counterintuitive, but trust me, the saying is true. The worse the rhyme, the better the time. And so let's have a good time. Let's go. Hardcore analysis combined with scheduled fun. Rhyming keys for Commanders Giants. How do the Commanders win this game? We now rhyme the ways. Rhyming key number 1. This is for the Commanders' offensive line. Be fine like in Week 9. The Giants, of course, have an imposing defensive line, especially off the team taking edge defender Abdul Carter with the number 3 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft out of Penn State. But keep this in mind. The Commanders' offensive line handled the Giants' defensive line in the Commanders' 27-22 win at the Giants last November 3rd in Week 9 of the 2024 regular season. The Giants for the 2024 regular season through Week 8 were number 1 in the NFL in sacks at 35 and were number 1 in the NFL in team sack percentage at 13.31. But the Commanders in that game held the Giants to no sacks and just 2 quarterback hits, and per the NFL's next-gen stats, held the Giants to just 5 pressures over Jayden Daniels' 25 dropbacks, despite the Giants blitzing on 60% of those dropbacks. Especially good in that game was Brandon Coleman, who at the time was the Commander's starting left tackle, now is their starting left guard, but he for that game per Pro Football Focus had an overall grade of 78.7 and a pass blocking grade of 89.2 and allowed no pressures over 27 pass blocking snaps. So PFF grades are on a scale of 0 to 100. 60 is average, and Coleman during the game had to have a finger popped back into place by left guard Nick Allegretti. Now, the Commanders' other game against the Giants last season, the 21-18 win over the Giants at Northwest Stadium last September 15th, that game included Commanders' offensive linemen committing 6 penalties, including 5 red zone penalties. So remember that? That was maddening. And so rhyming key number 1, this for the Commanders' offensive line, be fine like in Week 9. Rhyming key for Commanders Giants number 2, this is for quarterback Jayden Daniels. Target Banks and Flott a lot. The Giants' defensive front appears to be a big-time strength. The Giants' secondary, different story. And a lot of that is about the team's situation at cornerback. Their number 1 corner is Paulson Adebo, who the Giants signed as an unrestricted free agent this past March. Battling for the Giants' CB2 job have been Deonte Banks, a.k.a. Tay Banks, and Cordell Flott. The Giants took Banks with the number 24 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft out of the University of Maryland. They took Flott in the 3rd round of the 2022 NFL Draft out of LSU. Banks has been a disappointment. Flott has been so-so. These guys can be had. Have them, and have them a lot. If the Commanders can at least be decent in handling the Giants' pass rush, there will be plays in the passing game to be made. And so rhyming key number 2, this for Jayden Daniels, target Banks and Flott a lot. And rhyming key for Commanders Giants number 3, this is for the Commanders' defensive line. Make the Giants' offensive line kaput, especially given this situation with Andrew Thomas's foot. Hey, I told you that these rhymes are not good. A major key to this game, maybe the biggest key, is how the Commanders' offensive line does against the Giants' high-level defensive line. But what has not gotten as much attention is how the Commanders' defensive line will do. The Commanders' defensive line includes 2 new interior defensive linemen in Javon Kinlaw and Eddie Goldman, and 3 new edge defenders in Von Miller, Dietrich Wise Jr., and Jacob Martin. The Giants' offensive line is expected to be mediocre, but its best player, left tackle Andrew Thomas, is coming off a foot injury that he suffered in the Giants' 17-7 home loss to the Cincinnati Bengals this past October 13th. Even if he plays on Sunday afternoon, he may well not be at 100%. So an already expected to be mediocre Giants' offensive line may be even worse given the status of that line's best player. This is an opportunity for a great start to the regular season for the Commanders' defensive line, which, of course, is not just about the newcomers, right? How are interior defensive linemen Daron Payne and Johnny Newton going to do this season? And so rhyming key number 3, this for the Commanders' defensive line, make the Giants' offensive line kaput, especially given this situation with Andrew Thomas's foot. All right, it is prediction time. The consensus betting line for this game per Action Network as of Thursday morning was Commanders -6. I have not talked at all about my expectations for the Commanders this season. There's a reason for that. I wanted to save that for now. I expect our team to have a great season. You know, the overwhelming majority opinion on the Commanders is that their record for the 2025 regular season will not be as good as their 12-5 record for the 2024 regular season. That regression of some kind is coming. I'm going the opposite way. You know, when everyone is so sure that something is about to happen, that's when there's value in going contrarian. And everyone is so sure that some kind of regression is coming. And you know what? Now is the time to go contrarian. I am predicting that the Commanders go 13-4. Yes, I said it. 13-4. And I think that starts with a week 1 blowout of the Giants. Commanders 35, Giants 14. Receiver Terry McLaurin, 2 touchdown receptions. So much for him being rusty. My biggest concern for the team this season is not a sophomore slump for Jayden Daniels, is not the run defense. I actually think that the run defense concern is overrated. Pass defense matters much more than run defense. No, my biggest concern is injury. That this team, which was so healthy last season, will not experience the kind of good injury luck that the team experienced last season. But otherwise, I expect the offense to be great. I expect the defense to be decent. And I expect a wonderful season for the Commanders. And if you are asking me for a Super Bowl prediction, how about this? Washington versus Baltimore. The Commanders versus the Ravens. How wild would that be? That's my Super Bowl prediction. Commanders-Ravens, the battle of the Beltways in the Super Bowl. All right, here's an outstanding new book if you're a Washington fan, or for a Washington fan who you care about, RFK All Access by Scott Cunningham. Scott served as a photographer for NFL properties for years. He photographed the Redskins extensively during their glory days in the 1980s and early 1990s. Scott, via RFK All Access, has put together a compilation of his best Redskins photos, many of which are behind-the-scenes photos. Joe Gibbs, Jack Kent Cooke, Richie Pettibone, the Hogs, the Posse, Sonny Sam and Frank, all and so many more are featured in this book, which is 392 pages of glorious Skins history, 5 pounds of Redskins gold. If you are a serious Washington fan, if you are a Skins historian, this book is a must-have. Makes for a terrific edition. Tenny Skins-themed man cave. Also makes for a great gift. Heck, this is a book that has been endorsed by Joe Gibbs himself. Quote, "This is a great book filled with great memories," end quote. RFK All Access. You could get the book by visiting rfkallaccess.com and use the promo code ONLYAL for a special discount. That's rfkallaccess.com, promo code ONLYAL for a special discount. All right, time now to talk college football. Time now for GaldiLocks, my picks for the 7 FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic region: Maryland, Navy, Virginia Tech, Virginia, James Madison, Old Dominion, and Liberty. You surely have heard of GaldiLocks and the 3 Bears. Well, this is GaldiLocks, which helps you, as the great Snoop Dogg once said, make money, money.
Make money, money, make money, money, money.
That is right, Snoop. Make money, money. We have arrived at week 2 of the 2025 college football season. GaldiLocks in week 1 went 4-3. GaldiLocks for the 2024 season went 42-36-1. We call that profitable, people. I like how we did GaldiLocks last week, rapid fire picks and then some discussion. So I'm going to keep that format. Let's do the picks, and then I want to talk about Maryland football. The betting lines that I'm using are consensus lines per Action Network as of Thursday morning. Unfortunately, I was not seeing any betting lines for Old Dominion's game this weekend as of Thursday morning. Old Dominion home to North Carolina Central Saturday evening at 6, so I will not be picking that game. But Maryland home to Northern Illinois Friday night at 7:30. The Terrapins minus 16.5. Give me Maryland. Navy home to UAB Saturday afternoon at 3:30. The Midshipmen minus 21.5. Give me Navy. Virginia Tech home to Vanderbilt Saturday night at 7:30. The Hokies minus 1.5. Give me Virginia Tech. Virginia at NC State Saturday at noon. The Cavaliers plus 2.5. Give me NC State. James Madison at Louisville Friday night at 7. The Dukes plus 13.5. Give me James Madison. Liberty at Jacksonville State Saturday at noon. The Flames minus 6.5. Give me liberty. Gonna be interesting to see how Maryland does in its game against Northern Illinois on Friday night. The Terps ended up having a nice season-opening win, 39-7 over Florida Atlantic at CQ Stadium in College Park, Maryland this past Saturday afternoon. The much-hyped true freshman, Malik Washington, he was the Terps starting quarterback, and he ended up doing pretty well. The defense was outstanding, and the Terps won by 32 points despite having 14 accepted penalties for 100 yards. The Terps should win this game against Northern Illinois, should win handily, but these Friday night games on short rest can be tricky. I do expect a good crowd. Maryland does not always draw well. That is true, but a Friday night should make for a student section that's packed. But this game and this Maryland season come down to the quarterback play. Malik Washington in that win over Florida Atlantic was not perfect, but he did a good number of good things. He over 43 pass attempts, had a completion percentage of 62.79, and had 3 touchdown passes. The last Big Ten true freshman to complete at least 60% of his passes on at least 40 pass attempts and have at least 3 touchdown passes in a single game was Purdue's Danny Etling on November 30th, 2013. It had been more than a decade since a Big Ten true freshman quarterback did what Malik Washington did last Saturday afternoon. During Terps head coach Mike Loxley's press conference on Wednesday, had this back and forth between Heather McDonough of NBC4 and Loxley.
Malik, obviously you had him in camp, you saw him in high school, but then to see him actually in a game for you, things didn't maybe start off the way you wanted. What did you like about his approach during the game, mentally, physically, that allowed him to have such success?
Yeah, I think you may have been the one that asked the question when you said, what's one thing about each quarterback? And with Malik, I think the answer was maturity. And I think what you guys saw is what I said to you guys, is that this kid is a little more mature beyond the years, very similar to some other quarterbacks that I've had a chance to work with and be around. And, that maturity showed up when you start off 1 for 8, but you had 3 drops too. So we got to help him. A run game would help him as well. And I saw a young quarterback really put it on himself to deliver some great throws. Did he play perfectly? No, not at all. There was a lot of improvement. But he's also a guy that I know did miss some time during training camp, and he's really just starting to maybe get to 2 to 3 weeks in of actually having an opportunity to go compete. And that's where I think, much like every piece of this program, you'll see him get better from week 1 to week 2. But I also think because of what he's been able to do, you'll see defenses now try to do some things knowing who our quarterback is to take advantage of the inexperience that he may have.
And real quick, after the game, do you allow him, because you want him to feel success and embrace the fact that he won his first start, how much do you kind of work with the player, in this case Malik, to say, allow yourself to celebrate that win, but then, as you said earlier, turn the page to the next opponent?
Yeah, no, that's our process doesn't allow that to happen. I mean, we're all allowed, and in this instance, it was a shorter window because Sunday is typically their day off, and we actually worked. And so, again, the way we are operating, the type of coaching staff we have, this isn't our first rodeo with a young quarterback that won his first game. We can rely on the experience of, there's a lot of things to get cleaned up from the game Saturday that we had to put the attention to. That's where, again, his maturity really jumps out, because he's a kid that won a lot at Spalding, where he played for a former Terp, Kyle Schmidt, and really helped put that program on the map here locally and nationally. So it's not really his first go-around with it, and I feel really comfortable with how he has approached it because of it.
Yeah, Malik Washington, consensus 4-star recruit out of Archbishop Spalding High School in Severn, Maryland. Northern Illinois is coming off a season-opening 19-17 home win over Holy Cross last Saturday. NIU has 48 newcomers for 2025, 33 true freshmen, and 15 transfers. Per ESPN, NIU returns the fewest amount of production in the FBS at 23%, 25% of the offensive production and 22% of the defensive production are back from a season ago. Early season college football in this era of the NCAA transfer portal and NIL is so tricky in terms of gambling, because so many of these teams have so many new players. We're trying to figure these teams out. Heck, the teams themselves are trying to figure themselves out. And that will do it for you and me for now. Keep the feedback coming. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Monday's show, episode 1150. We'll have a lot for you on the Commanders. In-depth reaction to and analysis of their 2025 regular season opener, home to the New York Giants this Sunday afternoon at 1. Also on Monday's show, I'll talk college football, Nationals, and Orioles. We over Friday and Saturday have games for all 7 of the FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic region. The Nats this weekend have a 3-game series at the Chicago Cubs. The O's this weekend have a 3-game series against the Los Angeles Dodgers at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday.
Joe Morris ran the Giants to victory in their first meeting, but today's rematch is at RFK Stadium, where the Skins are hard to beat and where tickets are impossible to find.